even if robots are here tomorrow, you need to have some human being quite skilled to understand how to repair, even to prepare a new robot to repair the old robot. At the end, you will have maybe a new chain, a new supply chain, a new logic, but you need to adapt yourself.
Hello, and welcome to Her Voice, a podcast from The Choice, the media powered by ESCP Business School and dedicated to decision makers. My name is Emily Oliarchuk.
And I'm Sarah Royal.
And we are from The Choice's editorial team.
Her Voice is guided by one really important mission: to give the mic to women experts whose visions have transcended the competitive world of business, shaking things up for the better. For our third season, we're excited to bring you the voices of 5 women experts from ESCP's community with experience in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math.
Today, you will be hearing the voice of Valérie-Anne Ramis Cladera. Following a PhD in chemistry from the Sorbonne University, Valérie-Anne has built a path from science into the world of tech. She is currently the Regional Senior Value Advisor at the software development company SAP and an alumna of ESCP's MBA program.
Thanks to her unique background, Valérie-Anne brings a scientific rigor and innovation to help organizations align technology with strategic objectives, build robust business cases, and turn innovation into measurable impact. Valérie-Anne, thanks for joining us on Her Voice.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite.
We're really happy to have you here in the studio in Paris. We don't always have that opportunity to welcome our guests in the city with us. But if I remember correctly, you're usually going between Switzerland and Germany. Is that right?
Yes, indeed. In fact, I'm located in the headquarters of SAP in Germany, but I am mainly in charge of Switzerland market unit.
Okay. What's that like navigating these different cultures? Because you're also from France and Spain and...
Yeah, it's challenging. There is a lot of culture gap, I would say, even if it's European countries and I'm based in Europe. It's challenging. But it's really interesting. And Switzerland, it's with a lot of more German or French or even Italian kind of culture. So this is great because it's a great link with who I am, with my roots, and also with my studies. So that's amazing. I'm really happy with what I'm doing right now.
That's great to hear. And that's the point of our episode today, is to learn about your experience, what makes you happy about it, and what we can learn from the path that you've taken. Sound good?
Yeah.
All
perfect.
Right.
I think that we can start. When you joined the ESCP MBA program, you already had this PhD in chemistry under your belt. And you had kind of reached the heights of academic study with this PhD. So what inspired you to go back to school to pursue a business degree?
It was, I would say, this decision was taken already when I was finishing my PhD. So it was my last year of PhD. And I was wondering, okay, I love science, I love research, but I want to do more. And I want to learn more. And PhD is kind of the end of learning somehow. And I met many people from different MBAs, and I fall in love with ESCP, really. I think as many scientists, I was wondering, okay, if I do an MBA, it's really to stay in the scientific world, but to do more, business work or marketing. And in fact, the MBA was, for me, really opening all the doors. It opened even my mindset and my dreams. And I didn't know SAP at that time. I met people from tech industry. And I was like, wow, this is really interesting. For me, this is how I see the future somehow. And I was wondering, maybe I can do a link between science and business. If I join tech companies. I was learning a lot, but I was using, as I told you, everything I learned during my MBA, even this Italian culture somehow, because I did few months in Italy as well, in Torino. And and now I'm using it every day.
Yeah. Do you have things that you're still bringing, maybe your background in science that you see plays still a role in your job today?
Yeah, completely. So, of course, it depends on my customers, because I have some customers that are, belonging to life science industry or, pharmaceutical industry. So, of course, I will use my background, scientific background, but then PhD is much more than just, science. It's also management of your own project. You're alone for 2-3 years somehow. So, you're really experiencing challenges during your PhD, and you know how to see things in a different way, to calm down, to, to be more peaceful, to think of a broader picture.
Yeah.
And this was definitely helpful. When you join a big company like SAP, you see many things happening, changes every day. A lot of people are stressed by that. But then you think about your PhD and say, okay, when you're a chemist, you see explosion, you see accidents, so this is fine.
Puts everything into perspective.
Exactly.
Somehow there is similarities because it's also male-dominated industries, both of them.
Yeah.
During my PhD, I have seen few, let's say, behaviors I was not really familiar with, and I was quite happy when I joined SAP and private companies to see that everything is well set. I think I can right now really use all the skills I learned during my PhD and the MBA.
So it sounds like indeed it's this kind of global approach, this ability to connect that's helped you navigate all of these different contexts. And I can imagine we're going to dig into it because Sarah and I, while we work at a business school, there's some elements of the business space that maybe are not always the clearest for us. Like, for example, what does it mean to be a value advisor? But from Googling, and now we're going to actually ask you in your own words, it sounds like that ability to connect is super important.
So first, I know it's challenging to understand value advisory, but let's say, so first you're customer facing. So it's a customer facing role. It belongs to sales departments. So you're part of a sales cycle, and it's a strategic consultant, let's say. It's very similar to the strategic consultant you see at McKinsey. So we build business case, we will do financial analysis. And the goal for us is really to be in a power couple with sales who will negotiate the contract and will prepare the contract. But for us is really to show the added value of doing digital transformation for a customer. So we are talking to C-level, most of the time to CFOs or CEOs. And we try to explain where they stand and where they can be in the next years. So we show roadmap on 5 up to 10 years. And it's an investment from SAP or from, let's say, globally tech companies for our customers.
Okay, that makes sense. It's more to ensure that like the name suggests, that they get value out of working with your technology and that they're happy and want to continue to work in that direction.
Exactly, because it's not easy to understand the value of something that's not tangible, of course.
Of course.
So we need to explain concretely with numbers, where they stand and where they can have some return on investment.
So I guess going directly from that, in that kind of experience working with the C-suite leaders, where is technology creating those real kind of tangible business values, adding to the business today?
Yeah. So I would say there is different step. The first one will be more transactional. So of course, by doing transaction, you have manual errors, you have a lot of loss of time for the employees. So of course, by adopting, let's say, digital assets overall, it can be ERP, it can be cloud, it can be now even AI. You can lower this number of errors. You can also increase the efficiency of a supply chain. That's great when you see what happened quite recently in the last years with supply chain around the world. And you have also other views like the strategic views. So here you can also try to see what the competitors are doing. So you have more holistic view. So that's also great. So we have a list of different value drivers. And depending on where you are, if you are really, old traditional company, it happened to us. It happened to me quite recently also when we got some issues with the war, Ukraine war. We had a big disruption in supply chain for some of our customers. And one of our customers was very happy because thanks to the platform he has in place, he could really change completely the name of the suppliers and change the different ways he can have the supply chain, full supply chain. So the logistics was tracked completely end to end, and he could really have the compounds on time. And if you think about chemistry, this is definitely super strategic for chemistry, because if you're doing chemical reactions, if you are doing kind of waterfall chemical reaction, we call them. So it depends. Every step depends on the last step. You can't wait between two steps. So they need the product at a certain point of time. Hopefully, they could pursue the production thanks to this change in the supply chain. So the procurement department was very happy.
Wow, that's super interesting.
Yeah, that's a really good example in the way you articulated of how you connect the two worlds. Like your science background giving you this different way of seeing the problem.
Absolutely.
And then, of course, your business expertise allowing you to actually act on it. So that's super interesting.
I experienced it myself also because when I was a PhD, it was, as I told you, the end of my PhD was also during COVID time. And I was facing many challenges on supply chain.
Absolutely, yeah.
And that's why also I was very interested by SAP when I saw what they were providing, because I was wondering, okay, if I knew about it before, my life would have changed quite a lot.
Yeah. When you say dealing with supply chain in terms of materials in order to conduct your experiments, or
in my life, what happened exactly is that I was doing some chemical reaction, and I was in a very sensitive step, and I was doing a full synthesis. And what happened is that, unfortunately, we had Brexit. So they were closing the borders, and we had Yellow Jackets movement in Paris. And after that, we had COVID.
Lots of disruptions.
So it was quite a lot of disruptions. And it was very difficult for me to have a smooth, procurement experience. Yeah. So every time I was purchasing something, the compound was not coming or was delayed. And after 6 months, I had to find a solution because it was really sensitive.
You mentioned both the word disruption and getting value. And we wanted to get to your expertise, your expert view, because we feel like everybody's talking about generative AI, and there's lots of great things about it. But from your perspective of working with companies on that value chain of their business, what are the technologies out at the moment or upcoming that you think are the most underrated or overrated? We'll take both sides of the coin.
So there is two things. Of course, at SAP, we were adopting AI quite early, I have to say. And it was quick win for every, let's say, marketing campaign. We could really use our avatar to speak perfect English, perfect language. I was even talking Mandarin. So, it was really weird. So this was great at the beginning, But now we can also feel that people, they want something more true. You can see that it's fake, and you're losing a bit this interaction you have with customers if you use too much AI in that sense. At the end, human beings want to be with human beings, and I'm pretty sure you experience it yourself when you're struggling with something and you try to call a number and you're stuck with a chatbot for a few minutes, and you just say, I want a human being, please. Everyone is experiencing the same. What we did is, of course, also we used technology to go one step further. So we can also create more, let's say, videos, AI-generated videos, to project a bit this vision, because we are selling vision to companies. Right. Concretely, when they are purchasing, they don't see the return on investment immediately. It takes months, weeks, sometimes years. Thanks to AI, we have the possibility to create some videos to forecast a bit what can happen. And this is much better than just showing slides. Before we were only showing slides, even before we were just drawing, So it's a different interaction. I think what's really nice is to have a mixture of everything. You're talking to people that are, of course, senior, experienced, but sometimes you have people also from different culture, and they are open to many different things. And you have to find a good balance between all the tools. The risk I see is to just think about AI and think that everything can be solved with AI. Yeah. You can see that it's something that's impacting all the different industries. You may have seen self-medication, that people think that now they don't need doctors because they can use AI, ChatGPT. That's not the solution. The solution is really to have this balance. In my job, personally, or at SAP, we can use AI, and it's recommended, but we try to find a good balance. So AI is nice, but you need the human being behind the tool to guide the AI. This is really the challenge I see. It's growing super fast. But the issue is really what we are doing with this tool. I am teaching also in university, and I can see that the students, they are completely lost. They are using AI for everything.
Yeah.
And then when you ask a question, they stay quiet, they are blank, and they don't know what to answer. This is the risk.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it reminds me, I mean, that's obviously a question that ESCP is asking day in and day out, whether it's in research from professors or with our students. And what you mentioned just now about the question reminds me that I spoke with a professor a few years ago around data and data analysis. And a lot of it was the first step is asking a question.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that relates well to how you prompt and use AI is if you poorly understand your problem or your context, no matter what question or prompt you put into the system, the solution it'll give you is not going to be applicable because you had a poor analysis of the problem itself. So that critical thinking skills that allow you to actually know what you need, that's not going anywhere. Like you still need to be able to analyze in that way.
I fully agree. You always need to challenge the tool.
Yeah.
This is key. It's just, if I ask the tool, give me the solution to my current situation, they will just say something. But then he said, no, you didn't consider this point. Please change it, analyze again. And, I would say I am lucky because I come from a generation when we were using machine learning. So when I was doing PhD and science, we were using machine learning, and we had a lot of extra human effort in machine learning because the machine didn't have goal. They were just learning from different experiences, and they were learning just from experiences. Yeah. Now with AI, as you can give a goal to the tool, they just say, okay, it's like a human being. They have a goal, they have a purpose, they are able to think. And that you are the head, you are the master of the tool. Don't let the tool be, robot like in science fiction.
Yeah,
No, pay attention. It's a risk.
Yeah. What are other technologies that you see either existing now or on the horizon that your clients are interested in or that you are interested in digging deeper to understand how they can bring value to business?
Mm-hmm. So there is something very important. I think now it's kind of a trend. It's the fact to speak about ecosystem. So we speak a lot about ecosystem. It's linked also to the cloud strategy in tech companies. You may have seen something quite easy to understand with cars industry. Now they want to have connected cars. The goal is really to have no drivers at the end, so the car can drive themselves, and you can. I have seen even in China that now they can show really the time in a very concrete way and super precise way. If you go to point A to point B, you can see even the red light and everything. It's quite impressive. And this is the first step. So the cars can communicate between themselves. Mm-hmm. You may have seen with Tesla, there was this strategy and this technology. And this is the future. It's really impressive.
Yeah.
And this is what we are working on. We are really working on the ecosystem. So at SAP, I would say it's more an ecosystem with the suppliers, with everything linked to a company. But if you think about your house, this is the strategy for most of the industries now.
The flip side of maybe all this conversation, so there's all these like kind of exciting technologies happening and everything, but in your work with organizations, what are like the main barriers or the hesitations you see? Like what are people most afraid of or most hesitant to kind of implement in their businesses?
Yeah, so there is two things. Of course, we need the acceptance. As soon as we propose a transformation, the fear is to have the acceptance from the employees, because their life will change. They don't have the same habits. So this is the first one. I would say currently, what I'm really experiencing, it's the geopolitics impact on our business. So people now they try. So in Switzerland, I would say people try to be more European. So they want to go back to Europe-based solutions. That's why I'm talking about Mistral, SAP. And overall, now from my customers, they talk a lot about AI, but they don't know how to use it and how to leverage AI properly. So they are trying to find the best practices to use AI. So this is my biggest challenge currently.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. It always comes down to the people. I mean, no matter what technology you're implementing, right? And speaking of challenges, maybe taking this from a more personal note, you're very much in a strategic place. You have to, as an individual, be aware, hyper aware of all of these different elements you mentioned, like geopolitics, et cetera. And at the same time, very, very able to connect with your clients and support them as they navigate these challenges. We wanted to sort of ask you, what are some of those challenges as an individual you face in navigating this complex environment? And then how do you overcome them?
Yeah. So I would say from my side, it's changing fast. What I have seen is that I joined SAP now 5 years ago, almost. Yeah. And it's completely different. Everything is different. We are not using the same tools. We are not developing the same tools. We are not selling the same tools. And also our customers are different. So for me, I would say, the biggest challenge at SAP and overall in tech companies is definitely to always be aware on what's happening, where are the new trends, what is the need of our customers, and how their business are changing. And as I am in charge of quite a lot of different industries, you have really to navigate between all of them and to understand them, to speak their language.
How do you stay up to date with things that they change so rapidly without, I can imagine it could be quite overwhelming.
It is. So you have to talk quite a lot. This is again my link to my PhD. I used to talk with people in R&D as well. So sometimes even, if I don't know, because I'm staying with a lot of people in sales, I just have some discussion, lunch with people in R&D. I learned so many things. Thanks to the MBA also, I have friends a bit everywhere. So I talk to them. They tell me what they are experiencing. Then you talk a lot with many people. You read a lot of things on media. And you learn every day.
You talked about your network, right? You're relying on all of these different people to bring you their diverse perspectives and allow you to have a more holistic view on something. So perhaps you could just dig a little bit deeper into how important your support system and your network has been in your career so far, both as a woman in tech, but also just more generally in the ways you just mentioned.
I would say first, during my MBA, I think that was really amazing. We had a lot of services to meet people from different fields. And the biggest challenge is really to keep these relationships. So I was very lucky because I think ESCP community has a very nice network with people who are really thinking that ESCP is their family, is kind of, their roots, their origin. So they want to keep this relationship. So I think as soon as you're entering business school, MBA, and you start to have a network, you really need to spend time to keep these relationships. Then, when I started at SAP, we have of course women communities. So I started to contribute in Women in Tech. We have Women in Tech initiative. And I tried to create this bridge between women in tech at SAP and ESCP, women in leadership. So we had some nice events together. And this was really nice because we have sponsorship. So as soon as you are part of a company where you have a sponsorship for every type of event linked to women development, it's helpful. It's definitely helpful. And I was really lucky. I started in Paris. And in Paris at SAP, we had a lot of possibilities to welcome people, to show to women what SAP means. Because for me also, it was new. I was like, okay, I don't know anything about SAP or tech companies. So as soon as you're aware about the possibilities, then of course it's helping. I am lucky to be in an environment where women are also helping each other. This has created really a very nice atmosphere. Even like 2 weeks ago, it happened to me that one of my former boss helped me because I'm pregnant, I'm waiting a baby. I didn't know about the procedure in Germany and anything. She helped me. And she's not my boss anymore. She doesn't need to do it. She's super kind. And this maybe sounds normal, but in business world, maybe not. So
that's really amazing.
Yeah, it's a really nice message. And I think you're a good example of giving back, of continuously also trying to be that mentor. I mean, we talked about this a lot recently, just again, referencing the school. We know for example, Women in Finance, we have a particular program dedicated to that. And mentorship is a huge part of it because it's a lot about how we support each other.
During my MBA, I had a mentor and I still have good relationship with him. We became friends, and now at SAP we have a mentorship program as well. So I have in fact 3 mentors now, because I started with one mentor who was amazing, very kind man, who helped me a lot. And then my manager told me, maybe you should also take a woman.
Yeah.
And I took a woman, and then discussing there are 2 types of relationship. I have another one as well, and it's definitely helping. The first thing she helped me with was with my accent, because I was always apologizing. I'm sorry, I have a strong French accent, and she told me with very nice Spanish accent, because she's Spanish. Valérie-Anne, never apologize for your accent. It's your personality. So you use it, you keep it. And, she has a very nice position with, the career she has. I could not say anything. I was like, okay, fine.
Oh, that's really nice to hear. Yeah. As 2 non-native French speakers living in France, it's a really nice reminder that it's a part of who we are. Am I right in saying that, we talk a lot, and we have in previous episodes of Her Voice, around imposter syndrome? Do you feel like that's something that you still subscribe to, or have you managed to move beyond?
Yeah, so I moved beyond thanks to my customers. Because what happened to me is that I told you I am with, let's say, a big team. I'm part of a big team with people who are all of them speaking perfectly English and German, and I am very bad in German and having quite strong accent in English, and they all come from the same background. And when I spend time with my customers, everything changed completely. Because, my colleagues coming from the same background, most of them former consultants or partners from Big 4 companies, they were coming super structured, with something in mind. They were not agile or, adapting a bit themselves to a customer. And then it happened to us. First customer was Italian. Second one was Spanish, in fact, but based in Switzerland. And then we're talking to the other ones. At that time, I was value advisor, or even junior value advisor. And it was quite fun, because I saw in the face of the customer that they were not following, everyone is not American or English. So if you are coming to someone who speaks, barely English, you need to adapt yourself and don't judge them.
Yeah.
And I have seen some experience. I have some experiences like that, when people were absolutely not adapting. They were doing their stuff. They were showing the analysis, done, and they were leaving the meeting. And I was really lucky to have a manager who saw that I was important in the deal, because I was spending time with the customer. I was not judging the customer. If the customer was speaking barely Italian, I was trying to find a colleague who speaks Italian. Same, I was switching to Spanish with some of my customers because it was easier for them, so I could really understand. We had amazing moments, and at the end, we had successful deals. And my manager recognized that, and I was very, very lucky to have this manager at that time, because I found my space. Oh,
that's a really good example, and you've already given a lot of advice through that story, because those are going to be our wrap-up questions with you. But I think it's such a good example of the power of empathy in the workplace that we easily forget, and it's not a weakness. It's actually clearly, in the example you provided, a huge strength.
I fully agree. Even more when you're in a customer-facing role, you need to talk to the people. You don't need to judge them. You don't need. Some people, they are coming, they just show their all their degrees, and they come. I have seen that. I am doctor, I'm C, blah, 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 professor, whatever, and you have to call me professor, doctor, master, whatever. Why? Okay, we don't care about it. It's good for you. It's good for your curriculum. But at the end, you don't have anything else. It's just you did a path. Okay, maybe you had this chance to follow this path until the end. But it doesn't mean that you are more powerful, you are smarter, or you are richer than someone in front of you. Absolutely not. And as soon as you realize this, the life is changing. And I don't like the imposter syndrome because I think that it's always coming from the others. The others make you feel like that, but it should not come from you. And if you don't feel comfortable or you're scared, always think, I'm pretty sure it's coming from the other ones around you. It happened to me even when I was doing my studies. People around me, some of them were telling me, yeah, this is too difficult. This is for men. This is not for women. Going on science, you will be just the only woman or two women in a room with 10 men. It's true. Sometimes you're only 2 or 3. And when I was in university, we were 2 at École Supérieure. But at the end, it was not a problem. In my class, no one was questioning the fact that we are women. Yeah. I felt this difference later, during my PhD, in fact. But before my PhD, I was not questioning myself. Sometimes some relatives were telling me this.
Yeah.
And this is where I guess this syndrome was coming from. If I had some, it was coming really from the people who were questioning a bit myself.
Yeah, I think the pressure. I mean, just from personal, my mom has a PhD in chemical engineering, and so kind of similar. And in her PhD, there wasn't that many women. And of course, it's a bit earlier. But by the time they got to work, it was her and one other woman who managed to continue. Everyone else left or changed or, stopped and became stay-at-home moms, which is, if that's the path you want, that's great. But it was really interesting to see that all this sort of outside pressure really affected people. Yeah. And for my mom, it became really important that later on in her career that she took, when women joined her company, that she kind of reached out to them and was able to form these connections and things like that, because it helped to kind of create a legitimacy around those people being there. And I think that, like you were saying, these networks and these connections and these mentorships help create this link that later on the problems that someone faced before, they don't happen as often potentially to the people who come later.
You're completely right. And this is key. What I have seen is that in science, this is my experience, at least. In science, I was not having a lot of support from women. Yeah. We were quite few women, and we were having a lot of competition. Yeah. And during my PhD, I had a very good friend of mine, women, and we were supporting each other. But from the hierarchy, even if some professors were women, they were not helping us. They were not supporting us. And even one of my friends felt pregnant, and I will always remember her female supervisor told her, you have to select. If you're pregnant, don't do a career, and if you stay here with your pregnancy, you have to stop. I was like, what? Why? Wow. How can you say that? Yeah. So she was putting the pressure on her instead of helping her, showing solution. When I was few weeks ago, when I was not on maternity leave at ESCP, I talked to a female supervisor, and I explained to her, I have to stop for a few weeks because I'm pregnant, etc. She was like, "Oh, amazing! Congratulations! Yeah. If you need anything, let me know. We can keep in touch." The support was coming, but
I kind of also feel like, maybe even more so sometimes in STEM, there's this false belief there's only a few places at the top. And so women sometimes feel in competition with other women for those handful of places. And I've heard, I don't have a specific source, but I've heard before this message to repeat to yourself and to others, especially from one woman to another, there's room for us all at the top. Mm-hmm. And it shouldn't be about kind of stepping on top of one woman's shoulders to get above, but it's more about generally supporting each other. And I think that's such a good reminder. Yeah. There's enough room. Going back just a little bit, we talked a lot about mentorship and taking advice and lessons from others around us. And we like to end the Heard Voice podcast trying to giving an opportunity for our listeners and our community to see you as a mentor and learn from you. Yeah. So we have a couple final questions that go more in that direction.
So I think that looking back, what has surprised you the most about your professional journey?
I think it's, at the end, it's the openness of the people. People were really open to the fact that I have different background or maybe coming from different culture. And people were kind of excited to understand, trying to understand why I did that, what was my life before. So I would say my biggest fear was that the people will think something bad about me because I changed something in my life and I was I dare to change something. But in fact, no, it was positive overall. So don't be scared about changing something in your life. I think change is necessary. And it's this word, it's definitely key. If you stay in your comfort zone, you will struggle quite a lot, I think.
What advice would you give to others? Both, just to be clear, both men and women. I wanted to react to the fact that you mentioned you have mentors and you said he and she, and I think that's a really important reminder that everyone can participate in lifting others up. So what advice would you give to others who are looking to find their voice?
I would say always be curious. Because you may not know what you want to do. You may not know where you will be in 10 years, but always be curious. Try to learn new things. Try to open your mind. It's good to go deeper in your expertise level. That's really nice. But doesn't mean that you don't need to learn about different topic. This was, for me, key, I would say, in everything I have done, even if I have done a PhD. It was absolutely nothing prepared in advance. I was hating chemistry when I was in high school. I started to love chemistry after high school. And then I finished with a chemistry in PhD in chemistry. So life is unpredictable, completely unpredictable. And a lot of opportunities are coming sometimes, when it's absolutely not expected. And sometimes you need also to open doors. And I have seen this big difference in the people, both men and female. Some people, they are scared of, opening doors, talking to other people. They just stay quiet. They are a bit shy. I think the MBA helped me a lot to talk to many people, because when you start the first day of my MBA, everyone came to me, shaking my hands, starting to talk to me, because they were coming from business. And this is something you learn in business. It's absolutely not something you learn in science. In science, you're quiet, you're doing your stuff, and you try to do the best. So be curious, be open, talk to the people. For me, it's the key, really.
Keep learning always. I think it's what keeps life interesting too, right? Because if you stop learning, what are you doing otherwise?
You need to feel the spirit of the word, This word is changing. You can feel sometimes that, okay, maybe this trend will come, maybe robotics are coming. Even if robots are here tomorrow, you need to have some human being quite skilled to understand how to repair, even to prepare a new robot to repair the old robot. At the end, you will have maybe a new chain, a new supply chain, a new logic, but you need to adapt yourself.
A really great lesson to finish on for a business school podcast. So thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
And thank you for joining us in the studio, and especially while on maternity leave. We really appreciate that.
Pleasure.
And for sharing your story with us. It's so inspiring, and we hope that our listeners enjoy hearing it too.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
I hope. Thank you.
Thanks for listening to Her Voice, a podcast from The Choice, the media powered by ESCP Business School. If you enjoyed this podcast, please give us 5 stars on your favorite podcast platform. And if you just can't get enough, join us over on The Choice, where we share actionable intelligence from experts in the ESCP community across a wide range of topics.
And we also want to say thank you to the entire team who supports us on the Her Voice podcast. Pauline, You Love Words, and Laria Boutique. We look forward to our next conversation, so stay tuned.